Hola, ¿qué tal? Esto es Freedom Corner. Hoy vamos a estar hablando sobre las protestas de Los Ángeles, que es el tema que está en boca de todos ahora mismo. Como ustedes saben, en los últimos días en las calles de Los Ángeles se han visto inundadas por protestas que a primera vista parecen manifestaciones espontáneas, o sea, una reacción genuina de la comunidad ante una supuesta injusticia de la fuerza del orden de las fuerzas federales. Pero, ¿qué sucede si aplicamos la frase follow the money? Como dicen los americanos, vamos a seguirle el rastro al dinero. Si profundizamos en esto, vamos a encontrar un nombre que resuena y surge misteriosamente entre las sombras.
Neville Singham.
Es un multimillonario que actualmente está bajo investigación y parece ser la pieza clave detrás de la financiación de estas manifestaciones. Las pruebas crecen y la evidencia apunta a un entramado de intereses que nos llevan más allá de una simple protesta social o una simple protesta local,
Aparentemente en desacuerdo.
a una injusticia cometida por el gobierno. Veámoslo más a fondo.
Now is Oversight Committee member of Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. Congresswoman, looking at this chaos, who's funding it and why are they funding it?
So it's actually being funded by a billionaire by the name of Neville Singham. He's actually funding a group called the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which if you look online, they are a communist organization. What they're doing is they are using Hispanic Americans the way that BLM used Black Americans during these riots, and frankly, the way that Code Pink, which is also funded by the CCP, is using Palestinians. So what they're trying to do is they're using this to usher in Marxism. But it's important to note that actually when you find and you follow the money trail, Mr. Singham is actually largely funded by the Communist Chinese Party. So House Oversight has issued and will be sending a letter this Friday with all members of Oversight calling Mr. Singham to testify before Congress. If he does not appear and does not provide documents, he will then be held in contempt of Congress and he will be prosecuted by the Department of Justice. We are not playing. This is a different administration. We have the Department of Justice, and if you interfere with American politics and are a foreign agent, you will be held accountable.
Congresswoman, just take a listen to President Trump and his orders to the Department of Justice that they will be looking into those left-wing groups fueling the violence in Los Angeles. Take a listen.
The agitators are throwing firebombs, Molotov cocktails, lighting vehicles ablaze, and attempting to infiltrate and occupy federal buildings wearing armor and face shields. The best money can buy, somebody's financing it. We're going to find out through Pam Bondi and Department of Justice who it is. They're already on it. Who's financing all this equipment? Very professional.
I would expect that the DOJ is going to get to the bottom of that.
Well, we are also assisting, and we already have the receipts. I can tell you that there is significant financial money trails. All you have to do is follow the money. Remember, so Neville Singham is actually financing the LA riots, but there's also other groups coming in, but they have different ideological perspectives, some backed by Soros that are globalists, and then obviously the Marxist organizations. But remember, this is a color revolution, right? They're using these immigrants as a guise for their real objective and goal here. And frankly, it's nothing different than what happened in the summer of love during the BLM riots right before the election. They're doing the same thing before the midterms, and Democrats are trying to get the Hispanic vote, so that's why they're using Mexican flags.
Well, it was a heck of a thing to see the heads of the biggest teachers unions in the United States standing up there just a few days ago. Not worried about educating our kids, but worried about keeping illegals in this country. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, we also want to get, well, and also people flying flags from their, home country. If you love it so much, go back, right? But Congresswoman, I want to get you on this. I want to talk to you about Christy Walton. So she's a Walmart heiress. She has been calling for June 14th, this Saturday, to be a No Kings protest across the country. Congresswoman, we've already seen the violence in Los Angeles right now. So what is she really calling for here?
Well, look, I'm the first elected Mexican American to the House of Representatives from the state of Florida. So clearly they are not listening to what Hispanic Americans want, which largely voted in favor of President Trump's policy on immigration, because we understand what happens to our communities. People like Miss Walton, who are leftist liberals that have been basically spoon-fed their wealth and opulence, have no idea what impacts are on the immigrant communities that come here illegally, that are being hired, not actually given access to the American dream. And what I would say is people like her are actually responsible for some of the impact negatively that the American people have had to go through in regards to people that have been coming here criminally that have been hurting Americans. So actually you saw today that Walmart issued a statement distancing themselves from what I would say is the black sheep of the Walmart family. And what I would also go forward and a step further and say is that these left-wing organizations, these are the same people that when Governor DeSantis sent illegals to Martha's Vineyard, they waved them and gave them sandwiches and said, see you later, after they called in the National Guard to remove them. These are fake. This is a fake outcry. They're using minorities, and I'm not here for it.
And Congresswoman, this march or this anti-Trump pro-illegal immigrant protest will be happening on the same day as the Army parade. But before I just note, this woman's wealth and her family's wealth comes from the knowing destruction of Main Street America, the destruction of family-owned small businesses and small American manufacturers, including my family's wholesale business. So the very people who voted for President Trump, the very people who President Trump finally spoke up for, are the people who that's how she made her money, is the destruction of those families and their livelihoods. So I just wanted to point that out. It's rich in many ways. She's shilling for China. Meanwhile, that's what majority of products are from Walmart. President Trump is tough on China. Actually just announced that he just got off the phone with Xi Jinping, and they actually had a good conversation. I think they're at a good spot in regards to the tariff negotiations. But I have no sympathy for these people. I mean, you saw the pattern that happened with BLM. You see the pattern that's happening now. They're funded by China. You can follow the money trail. Yep. They're billionaires. I'm sorry, but I have nothing in common with the billionaire who is going to virtue signal against immigrants here. Meanwhile, they made their money off of producing things by slave trade in China via the Uyghur Muslims. That's fake outcry. Yeah.
Maybe that's what she's really upset about.
Yeah, exactly. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Found a really great deep dive here from the Data Republican on X. So who is behind all these crazy riots in LA and that will be across the nation? Just like remember in the Summer of Love with BLM, remember who's organizing all that stuff. With this specifically is being funded by an individual by the name of Neville Singham, who actually made his money by pushing communist Chinese propaganda, became a billionaire doing it. He's now funding, and the guy behind all of these protests was also behind and tied to the protests at Columbia University, pushing all of that BS, if you don't remember. And then also, too, if you actually look at the social organization that's putting out these flyers, it's the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which is, and I kid you not, the actual Communist Party. So they're using Hispanics, they're using illegal immigrants, they're trying to hype people up thinking that they care, but they don't care. They would stop illegal immigration. Obama deported people. Why all of a sudden now? It's political.
Si te gustó el video, regálanos un like y compártelo, así apoyarás al canal y ayudarás a que se difundan las ideas de la libertad.